So having to follow Loki Season 2, I feel a little bit bad for Echo, but, I think Echo is actually overall pretty good. Now, the series starts with a bunch of naked people, like in a cave, emerging from like little pools of water. So one of them drinks some water, the cave collapses, and then they're magically like in the middle of a field, all fully dressed. And apparently that's like the first instance of the Choctaw people. We get a quick origin of how Maya lost her leg and her going to New York. And then we get like a little bit of footage from Hawkeye mixed in with some newer footage to kind of explain what's going on, her relationship with Kingpin. And then it's just fast forwards 5 months later where the main series takes place. Though one of the things we do get in one of the flashback sequences, not seen from Hawkeye, but something newly shot, was Echo versus Daredevil. Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil, which is very exciting. And the fight itself is pretty cool. It's very well choreographed. It looks great. My only disappointment is this is the only instance of Daredevil in the entire show. So that's a bummer. But there is an after-credit scene of mid-credit scene of the final episode that definitely sets up what's probably going to be the main story for Daredevil Born Again. So at the same time, it's like, okay, it's setting up the new Daredevil series, so cool. So Maya is back home in Oklahoma, trying to ignore her family, but of course, she bumps into her family, and all hell breaks loose, and her family ends up becoming bargaining chips, and the whole shitload of stuff happens. There is a really cool fight sequence in a skating rink. There's also a really awesome train sequence. The show definitely has a lot of cool sequences, a lot of great choreographed fights, but at the same time, the main issue with the series is that it is kind of slow moving. Because kind of at the heart of all of this is family and the importance of Maya's connection with her family, which has a connection to the original Choctaw people. And apparently they have powers. It's like, what the hell? I don't know if Echo in the comics has powers. I'm not a Marvel reader, as any regular viewers, if you're watching this, know. So that's a bit of a surprise for me. And that whole thing does kind of set up like the final battle. But ultimately, the ending is kind of anticlimactic, which is disappointing. It is very well acted. I mean, Cox is amazing. Charlie Cox, who we only briefly get, he's great. Vincent D'Onofrio, again, just steals the show as Kingpin Wilson Fisk. He was one of the absolute highlights of the original Daredevil show on Netflix. I mean, the entire show as a whole was great. But he stole the show with his performance. It is so great that he is back as the character. I cannot wait to see what he does in the MCU. I cannot wait to see him interact with Spider-Man. It's just going to be awesome. And Maya's family is actually played by Native American actors, which is, I think, amazing. We get a couple of well-known actors like Tonto Cardinal and Graham Greene, who by name you probably don't know them, but if you see a picture of them, you're going to be like, oh, I know that person. So, Echo, I think it is good. It's not the shot in the arm the MCU desperately needs. Because, superhero fatigue is real. It's setting in big time. There's just so much superhero coming out. The MCU has been around for over a decade. The DCU is like constantly changing and restarting and rebooting, and this is happening and that is happening, and nothing is connected, and it's confusing. So, like, ultimately, superhero fatigue, it's a real thing. And I do feel it. I do. I'm not entirely tired of the superhero genre yet, but, it's not completely out of the question that at some point I'm just going to be bored of it. But Echo is good. It is an overall good series. It's very well acted. It's got great action sequences. The main issue is that it can be kind of boring, and being only 5 episodes, the story does feel a little rushed. But I still give Echo a solid B.
Did you enjoy the review? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get notified when more reviews go live. Feel free to leave a comment to discuss your thoughts on the movie or show, and I will see you next time.